Hi, everybody. It's Professor Mitchell. We're continuing on Chapter 8, Geometry and Measurement, and today we are going to talk about linear measurement. So several objectives in this section. We're going to define US units of length and use mixed US units of length, perform arithmetic operations on US units of length, and then we're going to define metric units of length and convert from one unit to another. And finally, we're going to perform arithmetic operations on metric units of length. All right, so first a little review on what the US units of length are and how they relate to each other. There are 12 inches in a foot. There are 3 feet in a yard. And therefore, there are 36 inches in a yard. And then finally, there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And I think I will probably make a handout for you that has this information on it also. Okay, to convert between different units of length, we're going to use unit fractions. So since 12 inches and 1 foot are equal, that means if you divide 12 inches by 1 foot, or if you divide 1 foot by 12 inches, you get 1. And you'll see in a little bit how we're going to use this. Similarly, since 3 feet equals 1 yard, that means 3 feet divided by 1 yard, or 1 yard divided by 3 feet equals 1. And the same thing with feet and miles. All right, so here's where you get to see how we're going to use this. They want us to convert 84 inches to feet. Now, some people just know how to do this, all right? It has something to do with the number 12, but what a lot of people find challenging is trying to remember, okay, when do I multiply by 12 and when do I divide by 12? If you use unit fractions, you don't really have to be able to keep track of all that, okay? So what we're going to do, I'm going to walk you through this step by step. We're going to take our 84 inches and write it as 84 inches over 1. And then we put a times 1 here because what's going to happen in the next step is I'm going to replace that 1 with 1 foot divided by 12 inches. Now the reason I know to do it like this and not the other way around, 12 inches divided by 1 foot, is because I want the inches to drop out. So what's going to happen when I multiply 84 inches by 1 foot divided by 12 inches is that the inches are going to cancel. And that is going to leave us with 84 divided by 12. And I still have feet in here. So 84 inches is equal to 7 feet. So you do 84 divided by 12. And again, if you put the unit fraction here, you don't have to specifically remember that you divide by 12. It just kind of happens automatically. So I think that's kind of cool. I have not always done it this way. I became a fan actually quite a while before I started doing it this way. All right, next example, if you'd like to pause the video and try this one, please, please, please be my guest. We're going to convert 10 feet to yards. So we're going to start off the same way as before. 10 feet is equal to 10 feet divided by 1. And because we're trying to get rid of feet, we're going to choose the unit fraction that has feet on the bottom. So that would be 1 yard divided by 3 feet. And so what'll happen then, they tricked me. They didn't put that extra step in this time, is that the feet are going to cancel. And that's going to leave me with 10/3 yards. Now I would never leave the answer like that. We don't usually use improper fractions for measurement. I would write that as 3 1/3 yards. So 10 feet is equivalent to 3 1/3 yards. All right, next. This is a little different. They want us to convert 100 feet to yards and feet. Okay, so we're going to start the same way by converting 100 feet into yards. So just like in the last example, the feet are going to cancel. That's going to leave me with 100 over 3. I'm going to write that as a mixed number. So that comes out to 33 1/3, and that remainder 1 is the number of feet that are left over. So this would be 33 yards and 1 foot. So the quotient is the number of yards and the remainder is the number of feet. Now we get into our arithmetic operations. They're asking us what is 5 feet 8 inches plus 6 feet 7 inches. So what we're going to do is start by just adding the feet to the feet and the inches to the inches. 8 and 5 plus 6 is 11. Now we would not write the answer as 11 feet 15 inches because there is a whole number of feet in 15 inches. So like in the last example, we're going to convert this 15 inches into feet and inches. Okay. 15 inches is 1 foot and 3 inches. So now we'll take this 1 foot, add it to the other 11 feet, and the simplified answer is 12 feet 3 inches. All right, here's a subtraction problem. This one is actually pretty simple. 8 minus 3 is 5. 24 minus 16 is 8. So the difference between those two measurements is 8 feet 5 inches. All right, of course, you can multiply linear measurements by numbers. So this 8 would not represent another linear measurement. It would just represent, like, let's say that I had several pieces of rope, 8 pieces of rope that were all this long. This would tell me what is the total length of all of that rope. Okay, so we're going to take our 15 yards, 1 feet, multiply by 8. So just multiply each part of the measurement by 8. That gives you 120 yards, 8 feet. But again, I wouldn't leave the answer like that because there is a whole number of yards in 8 feet. 8 feet is 2 yards and 2 feet. So we'll take these 2 yards, add it to the 120 yards. We end up with 122 yards, 2 feet. All right, that brings us to the metric system. So the metric system is actually a lot simpler than the US system. The US is one of a very few countries that stubbornly, holds on to our own system. But metric is really a lot more logical. So it uses these prefixes. For linear measurements, everything is based on meters. So the prefixes that we attach to meters to express, different lengths are kilo, hecto, deca, and this is also spelled with a C sometimes, and then deci, centi, milli, all right? And everything is based on powers of 10. So kilo always means 1,000, hecto always means 100, deca always means 10, deci always means 1/10, centi always means 1/100th, and milli always means 1/1000th. You really don't see hecto, deca, and deci all that much. You see kilo for everything, you see milli for everything, and for some reason we usually really only see centi with length. So in later sections we're going to talk about units of weight, which are grams, and then units of volume, which are liters. Okay. All right. So there are some neat tricks to help you remember these. So I have 2 favorites that I added to this PowerPoint. And I will include a link to one of these in the description of the video. So just some sort of rules of thumb to help you remember about how big each of these things are. A millimeter is about the thickness of a large paper clip. So that's a very, very small unit of measurement. A centimeter is about the width of a large paper clip. And you can't see that. There you go. And a kilometer is 2/3 of a mile. So several years ago, I think I saw this on Facebook. I saw this great video of this master teacher named Harriet Ball. And she taught in Houston. I believe she was an elementary school teacher. And she came up with all these fun songs and things and really helped her students you know, just excel with all their work by coming up with all these cool songs. So I would never even think about trying to sing the song myself. Here is a picture of Harriet Ball. I'm going to put a link to this video in the description on my video, and really, really check it out. It'll just make your day. It's so much fun. Okay, here's another thing. This is something a student told me about many years ago. This is what we call a mnemonic device, which is a way of remembering something to help you remember your metric prefixes. So the device is King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Here's a little meme that I put together for that. And what that's supposed to help you remember, just look at the first letters, KHDBDCM. Stands for kilo, hecto, deca. B stands for base. So this would be whatever your base unit is. In this section, we're talking about meters, but in later sections, we'll be talking about grams and liters. And then it continues DCM, which is deci, centi, milli. Okay. All right. So let me show you how this works for converting between metric units. For example, if you're trying to convert 2.5 meters to millimeters, you use King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. So there's that. King Henry died. The base unit is meters, drinking chocolate milk. And then locate meters and millimeters. Notice that millimeters is 3 to the right of meters. 1, 2, 3. So that means you take the decimal point in the meters measurement and move it 3 places to the right. So 2.5 meters becomes 2,500 millimeters. So much simpler than having to mess with unit fractions. Here's one that you could try if you'd like to pause the video. We want to convert 450,000 millimeters to meters. So once again, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Here's millimeters, here's meters. Meters is 3 to the left of millimeters. So that means we're going to take the decimal point in 450,000, which is of course at the end, and we're going to move it 3 places to the left. So 450,000 millimeters becomes 450 meters. All right, and lastly, different units of measurement, you just have to convert them so that they're all the same. So in this problem, you have a choice. You could either convert everything to meters or everything to centimeters. And I bet in your homework, they will tell you which way they want you to do it. So they've chosen to convert meters to centimeters. Centi is 2 to the right of the base unit. So that means we're going to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. That gives us 890 centimeters. So now we can add 30 centimeters plus 890 centimeters is 920 centimeters. Or if you had converted everything into meters, you would have come up with 9.2 meters. And that takes care of section 8.4.